Is it por or is it para? If you ever struggled with this question, this video is for you. But first, let me dispel a myth. They are usually told that they both mean for. This isn't wrong, but it's not entirely true. There are many translations for por and para in English, and it all depends on the context. Por can mean for, because of, through, by, over, per, instead of, to. Para can mean for, in order to, by, to, according to. The key thing to understand the differences between por and para is trying to understand what you would like to convey rather than just try to find an exact translation. Prepositions like for, over, to, they don't have an exact match in another language. We know it can take a while to get a sense for these things, so we have a really simple technique to make you understand when to use por and when to use para. First things first, both por and para link two parts in a sentence. But the main difference is this. With para, there is usually a sequence of events. One bit of the sentence happens after the other. For example, salgo para Barcelona mañana. I'm leaving for Barcelona tomorrow. So check this out. The first part of the sentence says that I'm leaving, and the second part says that I will arrive in Barcelona tomorrow. One thing happens after the other. With por, however, everything usually happens at the same time. The two events occurring in the same sentence are not separable. For example, el ladrón entró por la ventana. The thief got inside through the window. That's why para, it usually conveys some kind of purpose, aim, or destination. That's why it's usually future-facing. It signals things to come. Por, on the other hand, usually describes a course for something, and that's why it's backward-facing. It usually opens a window back in time. Now, let's move on to the longer, more complete method. So, por is for reason, and para is for purpose. Use por to talk about the reason for doing something. In this case, it means because of. Estudio español por mi trabajo. I'm studying Spanish because of my work. Use para to talk about the purpose for doing something. In this case, you can translate it as in order to. Estudio español para trabajar en Argentina. I'm studying Spanish in order to work in Argentina. Por is for traveling. Para is the final destination. Por describes traveling through or around a place. Este autobús pasa por el centro de la ciudad. This bus goes through the city center. Para describes traveling to a place. It refers to the final destination of a journey. Este autobús va para el centro de la ciudad. This bus goes to the city center. Por is for duration. Para is for deadlines. Use por to talk about how long something lasts. A trick for this is to translate it in English as during. So the trick here is that you should be able to switch por for durante in this scenario. For example, estudié por 2 horas, which means exactly the same as estudié durante 2 horas. I studied for 2 hours. We use para to refer to a time in the future, typically when there is a deadline looming. For example, necesito terminar el informe para mañana. I need to finish the report by tomorrow. Por is by someone. Para is for someone. Por refers to someone who did something. Este puente fue construido por los romanos. This bridge was built by the Romans. Para refers to the person something was done for. For example, compré este libro para mi hermana. I bought this book for my sister. Hanging in there so far? Nice job! Now, let's have a look at 3 common phrases that you will hear in Spanish conversations. They all have por or para. They're definitely worth remembering. Para mí, in my opinion. You can say creo que to give your opinion in Spanish, but if you want to sound more authentic, you can introduce your opinion by saying para mí. For example, para mí, Tienes toda la razón. In my opinion, you are absolutely right. Por aquí, around here. If you have a rough idea about where something is, but you don't know exactly where, you can use por to describe its whereabouts. For example, no hay ningún cine por aquí. Creo que hay uno por el centro. There isn't any cinema around here. I think there is one around the city center. Por teléfono, on the phone. As well as por teléfono, you can also say por correo electrónico, por internet, por televisión. For example, anoche hablé con Ana por teléfono. Last night, I spoke to Anna on the phone. And just remember, don't focus on memorizing all the rules if you can't. Just try to think about the meaning that you would like to convey instead. Look for patterns. The more you expose yourself to Spanish, you will realize that there are certain expressions that will always use por and others that will always use para. And after a while, you won't even have to think about it. You will just know it.